down kingdom. So go ahead and have a seat with you. Stay with us at home online if you're still there for just a minute. We've got some things to talk about. I want to share with you some from my heart here this morning. Back when Cindy and I felt God calling us to plant Outbreak Church some 10 years ago, we knew it was in South Rock Hill. We knew it was in this community. And as we began to move closer to that and try to figure out what the name was going to be and those type things, we just felt like, as I was talking to a guy, he said, "What do you want these people to be?" I said, "Man, I want to be so infected with Jesus that every person they meet gets infected with Jesus." I said, kind of like an outbreak. And he and I both at the same time said Outbreak Church. And so that's where the name came from. And that's why we began to pursue with that. We taught 8-week series on being infectious for Jesus. We used all the biohazard kind of terminology. We used infection. We used, what am I trying to say? Yeah, and everything. Point sources and everything about, we studied biohazard stuff. We studied epidemiology and how an epidemic spreads and how it turns into a pandemic. And our heart's desire was for that to start an epidemic of the gospel of grace that turned into a worldwide pandemic of the gospel of grace. And we were able to use that. And so as COVID came along, those kind of terminologies didn't really fit well, didn't sit well with people a lot. And as we were studying, the staff and the elders were studying a book called the Post-Pandemic Church. One of the sections in there was about how the church post-pandemic is going to have to represent the community better. It's going to have to be a bright spot in the community. It's going to have to identify with the community. And several of us during that time were really beginning to sense this movement like, maybe Outbreak Church is not the right thing to call this church anymore, especially in a post-pandemic kind of thing. And so we prayed about it, we thought about it, and personally, I argued with God a lot about it. I didn't want to change the name of the church. I argued with God about it. But God was very clear to me that no, we need to move. And part of the thing was when we started talking about get used to different. We've got to get used to different. And so that being said, we began a process to think about what it would look like to change the name, or technically it's called rebranding the church. And the elders and staff, we walked through that for many months. And back in March, the elders voted unanimously to change the name of Outbreak Church. And we are changing the name of Outbreak Church to Stony Fork Community Church. Oh, can you get that background out of there, Kathleen? There we go. Stony Fork Community Church. Love God, love people, serve the upside down kingdom. It's all good. Okay. Yeah, I hope you can see that. But and what we did was we just took Stony Fork Community Church comes from the fact that this area in the 40s and 50s was called the Stony Fork Community. And the southern border of our property is Stony Fork Creek right down there. And so we thought, well, what better way to represent the community than to name the church Stony Fork Community Church. Now, we're not changing anything other than the name. We're the same people, the same place, with the same passion and purpose. And what we did was we took our Outbreak Church vision statement and just whittled it down to say, love God, love people, and serve community. And that's who we are. And Stony Fork Community Church will be several things. It'll be a gospel-centered. I think I got a slide up there for the next thing. It'll be a gospel-centered, mission-minded, community-focused family of faith. And that's who we are. So I say all that to say this. We announced it last week at the picnic. Oh, there we go. Good. Thank you. And so that's who we are. And I thank the elders and the staff for, especially the elders, for having the courage to to work through this thing and to set aside our agendas and our thoughts to focus on God's agenda and God's thoughts. We also sought people who have done this before. We've spoken to many people, probably 6 or 8 people who have rebranded their church. I have spoken with 6 or 8 pastors that I personally consider extreme high-level leaders and conferred with them during this whole process. And every one of them was very encouraging and very excited about the possibility of this. And everyone who had rebranded a church told me that just the fact of renaming the church created a whole new wave of momentum that they were able to just sweep through. And it just really began a whole new movement of the gospel there. So that's our hope in becoming Stony Fork Community Church. Now we're going to announce this on Facebook and on the website this week. This week, when you come in next Sunday, all the signage will be changed and we'll have new signage up everywhere. We'll be announcing it to the school, to the teachers and administrators at the schools, and we're going to be giving out some stuff at the block party next week to let people know, we're the same church with the same people, we just got a different name that better suits the calling that God has put on us. Okay, so that being said, I'll be outside and out there if you have any questions or whatever. One of the things I did want to mention to you was we've got a lot of material that's going to be going out shortly, but one of the things is when you leave, pick up some of these cards that you can give to people or that you can put in places. It says, has the old logo, Outbreak Church is now Stony Fork Community Church. Same people, same place, same purpose, new name. And on the back it has our contact information. And then also, we're so grateful to Cindy Vest and Sign Techniques for doing this. We have your new rub-on car stickers that go on your windows today. So everybody get one of these, one for each car as you go out the door. Pick up some of these postcards. And then also, too, as just a way of remembering things, we give out these a lot. These are Outbreak Church coffee mugs. We've got quite a few left. They'll be out there on the tables. Please take an entire set for your family. Fill your camper full of them, okay? And there's some Outbreak Church postcards out there and some of the rubber bracelets if you want to keep some mementos of Outbreak Church. But I want to say, again, thank you to the staff and to the elders for your input. And we've gotten so many good responses after we did it last week and talked about it last week at the picnic. So I personally, as your pastor, I'm looking forward to stepping into this new season as Stony Fork Community Church. So God bless you. God bless you at home. Spread the word at home. We are now Stony Fork Community Church, and we're excited to see what God's going to do with that. So God bless you, and have an awesome day.